Hi, Erin. Welcome to Funnel Vision Podcast. Excited to have you on today. And we're going to focus on account-based selling. I'm excited to chat with you about that.
Yes, thanks, Elana. I'm happy to be here.
Great. So I've heard of account-based marketing. What is account-based selling and how is it different?
Absolutely. The way I think about it is they really go hand in hand. In fact, account-based marketing is the foundation of account-based selling. So that's all the marketing, the account-based marketing is all the marketing-led activities that generate interest and engagement, usually with content that's out there, online advertising, conferences and events, everything that promotes the company as product and services. So, what happens after that is account based selling, taking those leads and turning them into sales. So it's if the marketing and sales don't work with one another, to convert and close these deals and these leads that come in, then it's all a waste of money. So usually the tactics around account-based selling include the outreach to the lead, demos, proposals, all that selling activity, and so forth.
Got that. And yeah, I absolutely agree. One of the most key things that you said there too is the marketing and the sales have got to work together, have got to be
Absolutely.
kind of in line. And that's true kind of across the board. And one of the problems that exists often for clients that I work with, I know.
Absolutely. Our clients that we work with, that is often a major issue. Sometimes we will already have one of our fractional CMOs in there, and they'll finish up all the legwork around developing a top of funnel campaign and so forth. But then you need sales to execute it. So it's a handoff, but still a very a collaborative approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do companies need account-based selling?
Well, usually they're looking at their growth rates, and maybe their growth rates have leveled off or they need to increase them. So often they need to close larger deals and they need to close them faster. So if you're a company out there and say, "Hey, wouldn't it be great if we close larger deals?" Well, account-based selling will help you do that. It also is key for what we were just chatting about, the alignment of sales and marketing. So it's a unified go-to-market strategy. And also, not only bigger deals, but improving your win rates. Maybe you're only closing 15% of the deals in your pipeline. Why not close 20 to 25%? How about closing them faster? So shortening the sales cycle. And then, of course, all the investment that you've made in marketing around advertising online, etc., digital ad campaigns, whatever the case, all that money you've put it in, you've got to get an ROI on that investment. So those are really like close larger deals, align sales and marketing, improve your win rates, shorten your sales cycle, and get ROI out of your investment.
Yeah, I love that, and it's so important for all of those things. They're key, right, for growing your business. If that's the goal is to grow your business, so that makes a lot of sense. Um, what are the steps that a head of sales would need to take in order to set up account-based selling?
Right. I mean, I the first step is really your ICP or your ideal customer profile. So identify where the high value accounts are. So that includes breaking it down by industry, size of company, revenue, number of employees, and so forth. Usually take a look at where you've already had success and how much you can grow that industry segment or industry segments further. Second is that you know, maybe I'm about going overboard on this, but aligning with with marketing and make sure that you're targeting the same types of customers. You'd be shocked at how all the work that marketing gets done around like these are our ideal types of customers, and then sales goes off and does something else. So making sure that's aligned. um, Next is the selecting the actual target accounts. So breaking it down by the top industries and saying, okay, here's our list of accounts for these territories. Maybe you set up your sales team so they focus on specific industry segments. Maybe it's a if it's a large team, you often have to break it down by geography in terms of certain zip codes. But you've got to select the top accounts where you think you can get the most business from. And then after you've got that account list, to focus in on the top ones, and each account manager or sales exec needs to develop an account plan. So those account plans are very keen in terms of uh, making sure you're targeting the right stakeholders internally, understanding their pain points. How do you engage with these accounts? You've got to have a plan to execute on. And then make sure you've got your roles and responsibilities set up. So when a lead comes over from marketing, what happens to it? Is there an SDR team that reaches out to that prospect and sets up a meeting for the account manager, or is it the account manager if there's no SDRs? But just be clear on how things flow through a lead process to becoming an opportunity. Um, and then you need to personalize your outreach. Make sure that your sales team is personalizing the messages and is aligned with what's already been developed with marketing in terms of what resonates with this audience, but personalize it. So there's obviously some ways you can push those out to multiple prospects. And then of course leverage technology. That's really important. There are great platforms out there to leverage that'll give you some help with that. And then of course you've got to measure it and optimize. So what are the KPIs? How many new first meetings are your sales teams going after? How many new deals are being added to the pipeline every month? How many deals in the pipeline? How fast are they closing? So all the measurement and those metrics are really important to establish. So I know I've said a lot, but that's really it's a big job. It's not just saying, "Oh, we got leads coming from marketing. Let's phone them up and sell them." You've got to be very strategic in your approach.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like from everything that you're saying. Like there you need to lay out a plan, it sounds like, and understand like where you're going with each of these things, have processes in place, know who takes what and when the handoff is between each person or each team. So it sounds like it's a lot of planning, but when you plan and then you have your, you're capturing the right metrics and things like that, then you're setting yourself up and the team up for, for success.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned that there's tools. Can you talk a little bit more or about any like specific SaaS tools or other tools that can help
Yeah.
facilitate account-based selling?
Yes, absolutely. So first and foremost, you've got to have a CRM where you can track all this engagement. So there's, of course, everybody knows Salesforce. That's great for big enterprises. But if you're a smaller team, there's HubSpot, which is a great tool. Actually, HubSpot has a marketing component, so you can manage marketing-led campaigns in there. And then there's a sales-led component, and you can track all of your deals and have all your customer or prospect data in the platform. Um, then you need, well, how do you get these who do you call within these accounts and tracking? So you need an account intelligence around how do I get a hold of contacts? How do I get their emails and phone numbers and so forth? So Zoom Info is probably the leading provider of this types of account information. However, they are a premium product. They're not cheap. So mm, I've seen tools like Apollo. That's one of my favorites. The price point's right. It's you've got the ability to search on certain industry segments and get the names of the companies for your account list, and then the detailed contacts based on a certain persona. Of course, Sales Navigator from LinkedIn is a great tool as well. It's a premium product. Um, then you need some analytics and reporting. I'd say that one of the best tools I've used is Gong. Gong is a great tool to record sales calls and actually listen for the number of questions that the salespeople ask the customer, and actually measures how much the salesperson speaks versus how much the prospect speaks. And you want the prospect speaking more than the salesperson. So those are some good tools I've used in the past, and I've had great success with them.
Yeah, that's great. We use some of those tools here, as well, because for recruiting and for different, different things, because we always consider recruiting as sales and reaching out, getting people's contact information, all that stuff is very important. What types of salespeople do you think would have the most success with account-based selling?
Yes. I often think of a good salesperson is sort of like a good detective out there that is trying to solve a crime, because you're trying to find the person who committed the crime. In this case, you're trying to find the person who wants to buy your product. So they've got to have strong research skills. They've got to have that kind of dogged persistence that you see. I mean, so much of our television and movies are the detectives out there trying to solve crimes, but they do have a certain personality, and they are very strategic in their thinking. So they just they'll chase down leads, but they also want high probability leads. Um, the salesperson also needs to have that collaborative mindset. I think that's kind of the overall theme here is this, it's not account-based marketing versus account-based selling. It's like how you connect the two. So sales does need to give feedback to marketing about the collateral, about the tools, about the messages, and what's resonating, what's not, what target markets are working, what aren't. So don't be afraid to change your approach while you're going through all this, but having that collaborative mindset is really key. Salespeople who also do well with account-based selling are they're relationship driven. They know how to build relationships with multiple contacts within these larger strategic accounts. So it's not just the person who's who's going to use your product or service who may be kind of the lead buyer you're working with, but there's also a CFO that needs to sign off on the dollars being put towards these products. So you have to develop a sense of the account and all the relationships within that account. So that's very important. And the last one I really like, which is that patience and persistence, like that good detective who doesn't give up, who keeps going after any lead that comes in, but their persistence pays off, and they're willing to come back after a no. Maybe if somebody says no to you, you've got the ability to go to the next one and still pitch it very strongly. So those are some of the characteristics I like.
Yeah, all very important, all great ones to look for in salespeople, especially that being relationship driven, like you said, and being able to build relationships with multiple people, like and understanding the everybody's motivations, like the CFO's motivation and the person that's buying your product are probably different, and they're focused on different things, and kind of understanding that and being able to work with everyone and give everyone what they need and everything. So absolutely love that. So yeah, so Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you do, and
Sure.
where can people find you?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been in sales leadership for the last 25 years. I've led large sales teams, smaller sales teams across a variety of industry that sell into anywhere from financial to life sciences. I got involved with Chief Outsiders as a fractional business executive. So what Chief Outsiders does is we offer fractional chief sales and chief marketing officers, and generally we're working with CEOs who um, have got an operationally well-run company. However, for whatever reason, their growth has stalled. So they need help with analyzing why the growth has stalled, coming up with a strategy to get the growth going again, and then actually execute on that strategy. So what we do is we come in and we're part of the management team. We're just not full time. We're fractional executives. So they get the advantage of expertise depending on their industry or their type of company. There's over 130 of us chief outsiders, fractional executives, and there really isn't any industry out there that we haven't worked with and have got experience with. So, generally speaking, we work with these clients for anywhere from 3 to 6 months, sometimes indefinitely. We just become part of the team.
Perfect. And where can people find you?
Uh, you can find me at Chief Outsiders website. Go to there. There's all of our fractional executives and our profiles there. I'm also on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to connect and say, I heard you on Alana's podcast, I'd love to connect with you. Just give me a shout. I'm based in New York City and plenty of folks here to work with.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for coming on Funnel Vision. Appreciate your time and all this fantastic advice you've shared.
Excellent. Yeah, it was my pleasure, Alana. Talk to you.